What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Payne. Welcome back to another Street Fighter Duel video. Alright guys, I promised you another tier list, and this time we're going to be focusing on probably the most important outside of PvE events, and that's going to be bosses. That's right, we're talking about guild bosses, we're talking about event bosses, we're talking about any bosses that drop in the game, and I'm going to create a tier list on the top units you want to focus on to get the most damage output and survivability, and as well as the ones that's going to give you the most utility. Alright, so this tier list is going to be exactly the same as the last one, where SS is top tier, S plus is extremely good and can still take you very far. S is still like up there. A, you're now starting to get a little bit in the middle, maybe a little lower than that. B, it's closer to the bottom of the rung, and then C, just you don't want to use at all. Okay, so we're going to do what we did last time, and we're going to focus on going with the alphabetical order of units. So starting with Abel. So let's do that first. Right away, he's going to be a C. The thing with bosses is you wanna do damage, as much damage as you possibly can. So any tank, unfortunately in this case, we're just gonna put all tanks where they belong, and that's going to be in the C and B sections. So I'll put Zangief here, E Honda. Yeah, he might be a B, and I'll explain why later. Makoto actually will do better. She'll get an I'll give her an S. Only because she's actually a hybrid tank. She does a lot of damage when she builds up, and because she can build up, she'll end up doing key flow and key focus, which will give her a lot of defense and attack. So she actually can ramp up and do quite a bit of damage. So she'll be an S, but she's still a tank. Her attack power isn't that high. T-Hawk, we're going to put, you know what, we'll put him a B, only because he can dispel. For any odd reason, if you need a dispeller for any of the bosses, sometimes he can come in handy. We're going to go with, let's see, is there any other tank here? DJ is definitely bottom of the row. You know what, actually? I might put Zangief up here as well, too, only because of his damage resist and the fact that he can do significant damage with his passive with 6 cars, and he can also do the passive removal on enemies, too. So if anyone has a passive that we can look at, I don't think bosses do, though, so kind of makes it useless there, but he does do quite a bit of damage for a tank, and he's a super armor for the whole squad, so I'll put him in B for now. All right, I think that is officially all the... Oh, Hugo. Yeah, Hugo's, it's definitely C. So there you go. The only tank worthwhile on any of these fights is going to be Makoto, only because she's a hybrid tank. All right, let's go up the list now. Adon, believe it or not, he's actually an S. The reason why is Hungry Mark, or Mark of Hunger, can do a lot of damage, and with all of his FSs, he can give everybody a lot of crit damage and crit, and the fact that he causes bleed as well makes him pretty good. I was very tempted to put him in S+, because a lot of people don't use him, but he's actually pretty damn good on bosses, so I'll put him in S for now, just because I gotta do more testing on him at a higher level, but so far I've actually been impressed with the buffs that he offers, plus the fact that he does decent damage. Akuma, let's just go SS. Easily one of the top units for bosses. Like, he is going, like, it's a single boss. Every time he does a super, every time he does a C2, he's going to go straight into Raging Demon, and he's going to cause extra damage, and he does insane damage with his 2 marks, Conquer and Extreme, right? And as soon as he builds that, especially with his FS30 and his cars, he's going to be the most unstoppable damage dealer probably for a very long time. All right, Bison, also SS. Return of Infernal King, the moment he pops that, every single time he does damage increase on himself with his AoE, plus he gives everybody else the same as damage increase, so super important, never dies practically on bosses, so you want that extra damage, plus true soul damage is always good, and he pops his combo 1 with his 6 cars whenever he faces death, extra damage every single time, and he causes weaken, so you can't go wrong with that. Blanca, definitely an S, can give Electrified, does counter, does good shock damage, overall decent damage and great survivability, so good free-to-play unit for sure for bosses. Bizang, A. The only thing he really brings to the boss fight is a bleed, if you need it. That's the only thing really, and speed. But you really don't need speed in these kind of fights. So I'm going to put him in A just because of the bleed, but he just doesn't do enough, unfortunately, else outside of that. He could fall under B technically, but I think A is suitable because of he does do decent damage as well too, but not good enough to be anywhere else. Viper, S+. Yeah, absolutely. Like, her energy, armor energy, which gives her the 5% damage, it stacks up to 5 times, plus gives her effect accuracy, can also now bounce off to other people, and they get it as well with her FS30, and at the same time with her cars, she can also regenerate combo. I'm very tempted to put her in SS, to be honest. Like, very, very tempted. Like, it's at the point where, like, she's such a good damage dealer, especially for free-to-play players. You know what? I'm gonna put her up here. I'm gonna put her up here. I'm gonna put Cammy up here. I'm gonna put who else belongs here? I'm gonna put Guile. Because these guys here, where's Guile? Where's Guile? OG Guile. Guile. There you are. These guys here are the top of the ladder for the free-to-play players. Like, you have to give them credit where credit is due. For bosses, OG Cammy is absolutely a monster. She's built to kill bosses. Viper, same thing I explained to you guys with her burn and thunder and shock damage on her C3, her triple ultimate. The fact that she does detonate with her C2, and the fact that she has energy armor that she can bounce around is incredible. Guile with Saber, ignoring damage, can stack it up with his cars and explosions. The car makes him not lose Saber anymore, and the fact that he does explosions with the somersault, can do 2 at a time, causes way more damage, and his AoE. And you see with Akuma battles, for example, because it is an AoE fight with bosses, sometimes you can get more damage. So these 3 right here for the free-to-play players are going to be your top units for sure. I'm very tempted to put Chun-Li up here as well too, because of what she provides. The fact that she gives you insane amount of crit, and the fact that she gives you speed up and super combo gauge increase. She is like the closest thing to here that's not an actual SS. I'm gonna put her right here. Very, very close, guys. So very debatable. If you guys want to discuss that in the actual comment section, let me know. But she is like the closest thing to damage. And again, keep in mind, guys, this is like pay to win style. This is free to play style. Okay, let's put another SS where he belongs. Ken, MH Ken for sure. Trigger damage, insane combo, sharpen. His debuff is amazing. Overall, he's going to be SS pretty much in every category, to be quite honest. Probably the most versatile and useful character in the game outside of M. Bison. All right, next up, Fashion Blanca. Every video I've shown you guys, he's been one of the top damage dealers in the game. Easily, like on bosses. Like, he destroys everything. So Fashion Blanca for sure SS. Here's where I'm gonna get a little bit picky now. Okay, Gen S+, Jury S+. They used to be top of the ladder with their damage. They were the top damage dealers before Fashion Blanca came out, and before the next person came out, which is right here, Trendy Cammy, also SS, and I'll talk about her shortly. But these two used to be the top of the rung. Now they are support. They are support for the top of the rung. So I mean, it'll go kind of like this, right? Like where Chun-Li actually will fall behind them. If you want to do it in order, it'll go kind of like this, depending on these two, whatever you have. But these two have now dropped, and the reason why I'm putting them here instead of up here, because these 3 technically won't do as much damage as them, is because they're pay to win units. Like, you have to get, it's a lot harder to get these units than it is the other 3 units that I put up here. Now, this is where I'm going to say this to everyone who's going to argue these 3. Yes, they're not they're not SS units for Whales, because Whales will have the better units here to choose between. But for free to play, they're there. So if we're going to do a real tier list, we could technically do this. Okay? Like, technically, these could be the top bosses. If you guys want to do, like, it doesn't matter what kind of player it is, then this is how it's going to look, okay? And I'll leave it there for now like that. Sakura, I'm going to put her S+. Incredible buffs. Good damage. Unfortunately, pay to win, but she will bring so much to your team in terms of damage resist, healing, and with Razzle, she'll do more damage to the opponents. So, very, very good unit. Elena, on bosses, honestly, an S. Doesn't require it. Right here, 100% SS. Yeah, you don't want to do bosses without her. Street Poison gives you the best damage dealing buffs in the game, bar none. Like, there's no one that gets even close to her, and she will drive your damage through the roof if you use her correctly, especially with FS30. And you don't even need her cars. That's the beauty of her. And you can have an A version of her, but of course with the FS30 you need SS minimum. So if you get SS version of her, throw it on any team, get her FS30, and I'm promising you skyrocket damage. So that's the only other unit here that I will put up there. So she is the only unit that actually belongs in SS. It's not even an argument. But these 3 here, like I said, they can be argued. So I'm going to put them down here for now to be fair. Okay, we're going to be fair because it's going to apply to all players, Whales, Dolphins, and free to play. All right, Charming Dudley. Excuse me. We'll put him in A. I mean, he does decent damage. If a boss heals, he'll get that heal off with his Black Rose. Combat Guile, same thing. I'll give him, you know what? I'll give Combat Guile an S. He actually does do fairly good damage. Yeah, okay, we'll go with that. Dulcim, I'll give him an S as well. Not really built for bosses, more of an assist, right? With Yoga Flame and Yoga Catastrophe and all that, he really isn't meant to do a main damage dealer for bosses. He's meant to be a PvE damage dealer. So for bosses, he falls under S, but he still does significant enough damage if you're free to play and you need somebody to do that. Fei Long, A, really meant to be as an assist again. Guy, also an A. Good buffs, but just doesn't do enough damage. S Ryu, this one's debatable. I'm going to give him S plus for bosses. And the reason why is because he has a shield removal. His Hadoken does insane damage. His Shoryuken does insane damage. So you actually can use him pretty well in every boss fight, and he'll actually put up pretty good numbers for you as well. All right, Dudley, we'll give him an S. Counterpunch does a ton of damage, actually, to be honest with you, and he has other utilities that can be used, and he's a good dodge character. Every time he dodges, he'll do Counterpunch. So more dodge, more Counterpunch, more damage. So pretty good. DeCapre, I'll give an A. Unfortunately, Execute's useless in these fights. I've tested her out. I haven't found a good use even for Guardian Mark. So let's keep that off. Mayor Cody, great assist. You're never going to kill a boss. So Duel is okay at 15% damage, but I'll give him an A for that alone. Rose, S+, she dropped. The C2 buff, unfortunately, is now it's not as good as Poison's buffs. So that drops her actually down to S+. I won't keep her up here because that's not fair to Poison. Poison herself, speaking of, Street Poison, I'll give him a C. Yin and Yang, you know what? They get A's. I think he gets an A. Yin gets a B. There you have it, guys. Boss fights. Now, again, I'm gonna say it again. The three over here are highly debatable. If you are free to play, they will belong in SS for you. If you are not free to play, they belong in S+. Because as a Dolphin and a Whale, you're going to have some of the better units up here. You're going to use them every time over these units, pretty much all the time, actually. So keep that in mind. So I want to make that clear. So for those who are going to argue for Guile, who are going to argue for Viper and Cammy, I agree with you. They belong in SS as a free-to-play, but again, I have to look at the full picture, and I gotta look at all the player base, and they're not SS for all player bases. They're SS only for free-to-play, and this is a full tier list for everybody, okay? All right, guys, this is Payne. This is the boss tier list. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.